episode of Hypnosis Insights with Hypnotist John Cerbone. In this episode, I would like to discuss with you the concept of emergency hypnosis. Sounds really like a TV show, right? Emergency hypnosis. We'll be right back after these messages, right? Basically, hypnosis done in emergency situations. I have been trained to perform emergency hypnosis, and I'm also a teacher of emergency hypnotic technique. I can teach and train first responders and people who rescue other people in emergency hypnotic technique to help control things like a person going into shock, trauma, manage pain, and do what it takes before the ambulance gets there to turn things around. I recall many years ago, I was doing a show in Manhattan at a very large, very famous Midtown hotel, and it was an international party for some very large corporation. They had chefs of the world there. They had these chefs from all over the world and 12 different food stations, and they had all these high-end video games, and they had pool tables and other things. Some of the pool tables were rather oversized. So when the event broke down and I was talking to the people who hired me, and many of the guests were still lingering, as guests tend to do at the end of a party, one of the workers was moving an oversized pool table and was not wearing appropriate steel-toed shoes, I guess, and was wearing a pair of sneakers from a famous company. I remember seeing the sneakers very vividly. And somebody said something to him, because he was sort of the boss, in terms of carrying that stuff out of the place again and unpacking it from the place to wherever it had to go back to. And the fingers that he had under the rim of the pool table, now at this point sideways with the legs off, it slipped and it dropped on his foot, and he shattered some bones in his foot. And as that happened, he fell to the ground screaming, turning his ankle, and as they got the pool table off his foot, I could see that his foot was actually swelling, much like those movies with the Incredible Hulk, where the seams in the sneakers were actually popping as his foot started to swell up tremendously. And as I looked at him, his eyes were rolling up into his head as he was starting to hyperventilate and perhaps go into shock. Seeing this, I said to him, I'm the hypnotist that just did the show here. He said, yeah, I saw your show. It was great. He was screaming and yelling and talking to me at the same time. It was kind of a very confusing moment. And I said to him, if I'm able to hypnotize you and to draw you back into yourself a little bit to keep you from going into shock, is that okay? And maybe simmer the pain down until the ambulance gets here. And he said, please, anything. And he was, his eyes were rolling up into his head, and it was kind of bad. And I put my fingers into his face, and I did a speed induction, a technique I invented, a way of getting somebody hypnotized in a real hurry. And I gave him some suggestions that whenever the pain hit, he'd say, ow, 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 and his subconscious would numb it out, perhaps even create whatever chemicals were necessary in his body to control the pain. That night, there must have been a lot of action on 911, and an ambulance took about 45 minutes to get there. At this point, with the pain this man was in, he probably would have been in some state of shock at that point. And by the time the rescue workers came in to get him out and had these EMTs show up, he was blowing people kisses and saying, ow, 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 and giggling and laughing, and a whole different state of mind. I got a phone call from him a couple of days later, and he said his foot was in fact very messed up, but they said to him there was no reason in the world, considering the damage that happened to his foot, that he shouldn't have been in some state of shock, and hypnosis did save the day. A fact that many people don't know is that during the Civil War in the United States, hypnosis was being used as a form of anesthesia. At the same time, chemical anesthetic was being introduced. And because chemical anesthetic wasn't completely and widely available back in those days, quite often hypnosis was being used for major operations. They would either get the person drunk or they would use hypnosis. And quite often with the hypnosis, I've also come up with various things in the work I do when I've had a medical referral where a doctor has sent somebody to see me as a hypnotist to help work on a person's mindset before and after surgery. So there's a wide variety of different things a hypnotist can do. And in an emergency situation, or to train rescue workers in hypnotic technique, I've done this work. And it really is beneficial. Not always do rescue workers show up fully equipped to a scene. Sometimes they're driving home from work. Sometimes they're on the way home with their family from someplace and come upon an accident. In those situations, knowing emergency hypnotic technique is a very viable and important thing. So consequently, there's quite a bit you can do in the word hypnosis. Hypnosis basically is a wide variety of different aspects and techniques of working with a person tapping into the power of their subconscious mind and controlling, for example, pain or releasing a habit or other things along that line. Now, in hypnosis, we're never to mask pain or to keep it a secret from anybody, and that's certainly a key issue when I teach this to rescue workers. The idea is not masking pain. But as a hypnotist, there's a wide variety of things we can do to help a person, a wide variety of people, even you, to improve certain aspects and ideas in your life, whether it's releasing a habit or anything. So if you're interested in more information about hypnosis, at the end of this video there'll be closing credits with my website, and there's MP3s and other things on there as well. And if you'd like to work with me or any of the perhaps thousands and thousands of qualified hypnotists worldwide, please look into this, because it does work. It's very effective for a wide variety of different things. And there's a lot of things hypnosis will do. It's not a cure-all, certainly, but it does work in many areas where people have been stuck also. So take a look at the website. If you'd like to sign up for our newsletter, please, it's on there. I'd love to have you on board with that. And if there's any questions you'd like to see me addressing about hypnosis in upcoming shows, I'd be honored to discuss that on camera. Thank you very much for watching. This has been another episode of Hypnosis Insights with Hypnotist John Cerbone. Thanks for stopping by.